What's up, guys? Coach Jonathan with Steadfast Performance Training. We are back with episode number 2, and again, I'm joined by my good friend, Mr. Michael Yoder. What's up, Mike?
What's up? How are you?
I'm good, my friend. Thanks for joining me again today. So, we are going to build upon what we talked about in episode number 1. If you guys remember, we kind of touched on some key points or reasons for getting involved in a fitness program and benefits that we see from it, and benefits that we see our clients and those that we have the privilege of working with, the benefits that we see them gain from a fitness program. And something that Michael touched on I think is super important, and that's what we're going to get into today. But this idea of, if you're involved in fitness or you want to get involved in fitness, the perceived insurmountable challenge that may be present. Because it can be very uncomfortable, right? Michael used the words uncomfortable, he used the words challenging, intimidating, and these are all realities for many people. But we want to show how we can take that and make it fun for the beginner, someone who is just getting started, taking some challenging movements, some difficult things, and changing them in a way that introduces proper movement patterns to them, but also is done safely and effectively. I'm going to look at the Olympic lifts because that's something we do a lot in here, and we at least would like to introduce to most of the athletes that come through our doors. I'm going to talk about the snatch in particular, and the snatch being a highly technical movement, which is very intimidating for most people when they see it. They're like, I could never do that. And maybe they can't do that immediately, but eventually we want to progress them to being able to do that. So I'm going to demonstrate that movement and show how we can modify it so that they can begin the steps to learning that movement. And then Michael is going to take it a little bit of a different angle. What are you going to show us today, man?
So I'm going to do a pull-up progression. I see clients all the time come to me and I want them to do a variation of a pull-up and they look at me like I'm crazy, right? So I just want to teach that there are different ways to do it to eventually get to that level. All right, you don't have to be completely comfortable or capable of doing one. There's ways around it to be able to work the same muscle groups to eventually be able to lead to getting a pull-up or getting close to doing a full pull-up down the road.
And see, guys, this is what it's all about. It's progressive skill development. What we do best here at Steadfast Performance Training, and what Michael, I know what Michael does with his clients as well, is we take you where you are today and help progress you into that next step or that next tier, taking you to the next phase of your fitness journey, right? So, with that being said, I'm going to demonstrate the snatch. For those of you out there who have never heard of the snatch or don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to demonstrate the movement and then break it down real briefly. So the snatch is a barbell movement where I take this weight from the floor and lift it up over my head in one fluid movement. So there's a snatch, right? There's a lot going on. And to the beginner, especially for someone who's never attempted that movement, that's like, whoa, I don't even know what happened. I don't know if I could do that. And maybe you can't in the beginning, but we're going to show you a way to learn the proper hip and leg engagement to eventually progress to that movement. What I'm going to do is take these plates off. We're going to perform a couple reps from the hang position. The hang position is a movement where the lift starts above my knee. I'm going to perform the same movement, jump, and catch that bar overhead. One more time, hinge at the hip, jump, and catch, okay? So that was a hang snatch. Now watch the similarities between the hang snatch and the kettlebell swing. Kettlebell swing is a way I like to introduce athletes to the Olympic lifts. It really teaches proper hip and leg usage, okay? Using your hips to unweight or lift that kettlebell, okay? It's not about my arms. It's about hinging, standing, creating momentum up against that weight with my legs. Looks like this. I'm going to hinge and stand, creating force using my hips. It's a great modification or introduction to eventually progress somebody to performing the Olympic lifts. All right, cool, guys. I'm not going to pass it on to Michael. He is going to go into his pull-up progression, something that he likes to use, man. So show us what you got.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, often people will come and they'll see people doing pull-ups and they'll say, I can never do that. A lot of times people don't have the strength to do it, which is totally fine. So a lot of times you'll come into the gym, you'll see people grabbing, doing a normal pull-up, all right, using their upper body strength, squeezing their lats, bringing that chin above the bar. All right. Often you think if you can't do that, well, I obviously don't have the strength, so why should I even try? let alone you can eventually get to that point. You just have to practice a couple different progressions. So I'm going to show you a version that we can do from the floor, all right? So you don't have to worry about any of you who are scared at heights at all or not comfortable lifting your own body weight yet. All right, this bar should be set up probably about shoulder height, maybe just below. All right, just so you have enough room to bring your hands just inside the little neural line on the bar here, a little bit outside of your shoulders should be your setup. All right, when we go under it, all right, we want to walk it under so that we are about vertical, perpendicular to our bar, all right? A lot of times I'll see people walk it out so that they're almost going backwards like a row. We want to make sure we stay underneath it so that our back is nice and straight, arms extended, all right? When we pull up, we're going to use our heels. We're going to help push through our heels to bring our upper body, our chest to the bar. One thing I'll often see is people will want to shrug their shoulders and get up into those traps and really use those to help them out. We want to keep the shoulder blades nice down and tucked, all right? Shoulders are nice and relaxed with full extension of those arms. Push down through the heels, squeezing our lats right down in here to bring our chest right to that bar, and we can start running through it, all right? A good place to start can be anywhere from that 5 to 8 rep range, 3 to 4 sets. All right, really can get the same motion, really strengthen those lats, and eventually leads you to a full pull-up on the bar.
All right, guys, so those were 2 quick examples of taking a complex movement, a movement that a lot of people, at least in the beginning, aren't able to do. We took those complex movements, or those high-strength movements, we broke it down into a movement that anybody can do in the beginning that would slowly progress them in the end to a more skillful or strength-based movement. You got anything else for us, Mike?
No, I hope it helps people learn, gain the confidence to know you can come in no matter where you're at, get started. Whether you feel like you can or not, there's always a place to start. And then from there, just look to progress, stay consistent with it, and grow one day at a time.
Again, Coach Jonathan, Steadfast Performance Training. Coach Michael with Mesh Fitness in Dublin. We'll catch you in a couple weeks, guys.